سنتي ما قال النبي هو الصحيح نكاح مبارك نكاح مبارك زواج مبارك النكاح من سنتي ما قال النبي هو الصحيح نكاح مبارك
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome brothers and sisters to a brand new episode in a series called Marriage and Divorce. With me here is Sheikh Haitham Al Haddad. Inshallah, in this episode we would like to talk about the issue of marriage and the conditions specifically to do with marriage and what makes it valid and what might invalidate it. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Marriage is a huge thing in everyone's life these days, especially. And especially in our societies back home in the UK, a lot of people are not as aware as they should be. For example, of the conditions of marriage. What makes a valid marriage and what makes an invalid marriage?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah. In the beginning of this series, we spoke about the importance of marriage in Islam and the aims of marriage in Islam and the rulings regarding marriage, and we said that sometimes marriage can be obligatory. In most cases it is highly recommended. In some cases it is permissible. In very few cases it is makruh, disliked, and in very, very rare cases it can be haram. So we don't need to repeat what we have discussed. Now, apart from the importance of marriage, we need to see what makes a marriage a valid marriage.
Yes.
I would like to re-emphasize that we are discussing here Islamic marriage. We are not discussing non-Islamic marriage or civil marriage. This distinction is important, extremely important. Why? Because in European countries there is the Islamic marriage and there is the civil marriage. Many of our brothers and sisters are confusing between both. Why? They think, for example, the civil divorce is equal to an Islamic divorce. There was a case of a dispute between an Islamic center in one of the European countries. This is a genuine case, a dispute between the Islamic center and the imam. So the Islamic center, unfortunately, wants to sack the imam. One of the issues that they put forward against him is that he carried out an Islamic marriage without their permission. Now the Islamic Center had an agreement with the government, yes, with the government in that country, that they will not do any marriage without the permission of the government. Now this imam conducted an Islamic marriage. So they put forward the case against him and they said he violated the contract. So the court decided to fine him because he carried out what? A marriage without their permission. Now I said to a brother who's living in that country, see, this will set a very, very bad precedent. Why? Because now any imam cannot carry out an Islamic marriage except with the permission of the legal system. This means that the legal system regulates the Islamic marriage, which is not the case. Okay? Regulates the Islamic marriage, which is not the case. But they are stopping the Islamic marriage whenever they want. Okay, do you recognize the Islamic marriage? No, we don't. So why are you stopping Muslims from doing it? Because some imams and Islamic centers have equated between both of them. Otherwise, in all European countries, and I had this discussion with one of the ministers or the deputy minister of social affairs in Denmark. And I had this discussion with many imams in Holland, in Norway, in many countries. I said to them, according to the law, and I said to this minister or the deputy minister, I said to her, according to any legal system in Europe, if a man is sleeping with other woman, is this legal or illegal? She said, if there is consent between both of them, it is legal. Okay? I said, this is Islamic marriage, that both of them consent, and it is done with the consent of the wali, and it is done also with witnesses, that we are witnessing that this man has the right to cohabit with this woman. We call it, we as Muslims call it what? Nikah. We call it zawaj. What's wrong with this? You said that it is allowed for a man to sleep with a woman. Allowed means legally. The police, even if they see them, astaghfirullah al-azim, in the street, sleeping together. Some countries do not allow this. Some other countries, they say, well, this is personal freedom. Yeah? He can sleep with her in the street.
Exactly, because here the issue would not be the action itself, it would be the fact it's in public. That's all.
In public. So if a man was caught sleeping with a woman, is this legal or illegal? They said, we have nothing to do with it. Okay, as far as they both consent. I said, Islamic marriage, both consent, and moreover, the wali consents. Okay, furthermore, it should not be recognized as zina. It should be recognized as what? Nikah. What's wrong with this? I am mentioning this because everyone has to understand this difference between the civil marriage and the Islamic marriage. And there are many other consequences based on this. Now the Islamic marriage, as we just said, what is it? Yeah, it is a contract whereby هو عقد, a contract whereby it is allowed based on that contract for this man to cohabit with this lady. هو عقد استحلال البضع with its condition. Okay? It is a contract whereby it is allowed for this man to cohabit with this lady. That's it. Now, let me talk about the nature of this aqd. First of all, Islam regulated this aqd heavily. Controlled this aqd. That's why Allah Jalla wa Ala says, وَكَيْفَ تَأْخُذُونَهُ وَقَدْ أَفْضَى بَعْضُكُمْ إِلَى بَعْضٍ وَأَخَذْنَ مِنْكُمْ مِيثَاقًا غَلِيظًا. How do you take the mahar back? Yeah, in order to force her to seek divorce from you. And they have taken from you a very heavy covenant or contract. What is the heavy covenant or contract? As the scholar said, which is إمساك بمعروف أو تسريح بإحسان. Either you hold her on goodwill or you leave her freely on goodwill or amicably. This, taking her, keeping her, or leaving her amicably, this is the essence of what? Of zawaj. So Allah called it as a heavy covenant. So it is not any contract. It is one of the very few contracts that needs the consent of three people. The wife to be, the husband to be, and the guardian of the wife or the wali. So it needs extra consent. It is the only contract whereby you need witnesses. All the contracts do not need witnesses. I sell you this, you accept it, we don't need a witness. It is done. Okay? I rent this from you, you rent this from me. We both get into this business. Okay? But the aqd and nikah, it needs two male Muslim witnesses. So it is not any contract. Again, one further point about aqd and nikah. The nature of the aqd, or the ultimate aim of the aqd, of the contract, is, as the scholars said, استحلال البضع. Let me stop at this point. استحلال البضع means that, literally speaking, means the private part will be halal for me, and my private part will be halal for my wife. This is the literal translation for what the fuqaha, all of them, the jurists, said about عقد النكاح. عقد يبيح البضعة أو عقد استحلال البضع, etc., etc., etc. Now some people criticized Islamic jurisprudence, and they said, look, this as if you are buying the private part. I heard a prominent figure in the Muslim world. He told me, look what the fuqaha said. They summarized the lady, this beautiful person that Allah Jalla Ala created for a noble reason, in her private part. They made the lady nothing but the private part. I said, Subhanallah, this is a weird understanding of marriage. This is a weird understanding of what the fuqaha said about marriage. This is wrong understanding. He said, how come? I said, listen, akhi, when the fuqaha said this, what is the most sacred thing in me and in the wife to be? In me as a male or in the lady as a female? What is the most sacred thing? Religion, and then life, and then after that what?
Honor.
Chastity.
Yeah.
Honor.
Yeah.
Sexuality. Now the fuqaha said preserving the private part, or where the private part becomes halal, it doesn't mean the physical private part.
No.
It means the sexuality. It means the honor. Now, iman cannot be exchanged, cannot be agreed upon. Same thing with the life. I cannot agree that you take my life, I take your life, I kill you, you kill me. We cannot agree on this. But after that, what comes is the sexuality. Yeah? I cannot have any sexual relationship, any sexual intimacy, except with certain requirements. Those requirements are only summarized in عقد النكاح. I hope that this point is clear. We can elaborate on it, inshallah, after the break.
Inshallah. Brothers and sisters, please return where we will discuss further in detail the conditions of a valid marriage. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
زواج مبارك
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, brothers and sisters, to this discussion with myself and Sheikh Haitham Al Haddad on the conditions of a valid marriage. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
You were just talking about the conditions of a valid marriage, and specifically you were making a point.
Yeah, we were defining عقد النكاح, and I wanted to clarify the misconception regarding what the classical scholars said about the definition of عقد النكاح. In fact, all of them mentioned this. Yeah, something similar, where they mentioned, as I said, استحلال البضع, that the sexuality, yeah, which is the third level of what the sacred, yeah, issues. Religion, my soul, and then sexuality. I cannot exercise any sexual activity except with my wife. Or mulkul yamin, this is something else. But except with my wife. Again, the lady, the most sacred thing for her after deen and her life is sexuality.
Of course.
How this sexuality is broken, or the sacredness of the sexuality is broken, not even fully, it is broken through عقد النكاح. Okay, so which means that me as a man and my wife as a female, Yeah? We all became halal together from all angles. Because the first angle is deen, this cannot be exchanged, or this cannot be a subject matter of an agreement. The second thing is the life. If the sexuality between us is halal, then everything else follows. That's why the fuqaha said it is the aqd through which, it is the only contract through which the sexuality between two people is allowed. Okay? Which means that Islamic marriage is a contract between an adult male free from obstacles with an adult female free from obstacles. It will never be between a male and a male and a female and a female. Okay?
Yes.
This should be clear. Now, I am sure, as maybe we have mentioned this or touched on this quickly, I am 100% sure that many of our audience, they will say, this crazy Maulana or Sheikh, why is he talking about this? Because now there are calls in Europe, in America, why not we carry a nikah between a male and a male and a female and a female? Is that true, Brother Daniel?
It is true, and you tend to hear of this kind of thing promoted more and more.
There was a book that was published where the author claims that Islam allows homosexuality. Okay, and an Arabic book. Islam allows homosexuality. This is the subject matter of the book. And there is this gay imam in America who claims that there is no authentic dalil to prohibit a man from, being homosexual. There is nothing wrong with homosexuality, in Islam. And he's an imam and he's proud to be gay. And we say, apart from talking about this homosexuality issue, apart from talking about it, look, in the Quran, Allah Jalla wa Ala mentioned number of prophets. 25 prophets. One of them is who? Lut alayhi salam. All prophets called to Tawheed. All prophets mentioned to Quran, Allah mentioned that they called people to
Tawheed.
To establish Tawheed. All of them. Except who? Lut alayhi salam. Allah Jalla wa Ala did not mention that Lut called his people to اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره وإلى عاد أخاهم هودا. This is Hud. لقد أرسلنا نوحا إلى قومه فقال يا قوم اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره. We have sent to Noah and he said to his people, اعبدوا الله. Worship Allah, you have no God but Allah Jalla wa Ala. وإلى عاد أخاهم هودا قال يا قوم اعبدوا الله. وما أرسلنا من قبلك من رسول إلا نوحي إليه أنه لا إله إلا أنا. We haven't sent any prophet before you except we reveal to him that there is no God but Allah. وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولًا أَنِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهِ. We have sent in every nation a prophet, أَنِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهِ. Worship Allah. So this is across the board. We can't continue quoting those ayat. Lut alayhi salam, he was sent to his people for one purpose. Which is one? قال أتأتون الفاحشة ما سبقكم بها من أحد من العالمين فإنكم لتأتون الرجال شهوة من دون النساء. In different forms. In one form أئنكم لتأتون الرجال وتقطعون السبيل وتأتون في ناديكم المنكر. So he called it فاحشة and he called it what? Munkar. فاحشة, open sin. And munkar is evil sin. This is what is mentioned, and this was the main call for Lut, Prophet Lut, which is what? To prohibit his people. Forget about the whole word homosexuality, because the word homosexuality can be misleading. from men having sexual relationship with men. Yeah? Why? Because nowadays, when you say the word homosexual, they say life is about love. I love another man and we want to spend our life together. So this is homosexuality. And you are saying that homosexuality is prohibited in Islam. Akhi, I love you for the sake of Allah. Does that mean that we have sexual relationship? No. Okay? I love my father loves me, I love my children. You can love another man. Love. The Prophet ﷺ said, Al-mutahabbun, yeah, ala manabir min nur, on the day of resurrection. Those who love each other for the sake of Allah, not sexually, not for lust.
Exactly, there's no desire involved here.
There is no desire, sexual desire involved. Yeah? So don't tell me that homosexuality is about love. No, it is not about love. It is about sexual relationship. So we need to be clear about what we are talking about. What we are talking about is homosexuality, in which the sexuality is the main element of this relationship between what? Two people from the same gender. So Lut alayhi salam, Prophet Lut alayhi salam, he was mentioned in the Quran 27 times. In all these times, he was talking about the sexuality between men and men. He called it fahisha, he called it munkar. And as a result of this, when his people did not listen to him, Allah sent punishment on them. So if this open sin becomes prevalent, and we as Muslims do not contribute in telling people that Allah the God, who controls everything, who has the right to define everything, He dislikes this act. Yeah? He prohibits us from this act. Unless we say this, then we will incur the anger of God upon us as Muslims. We have to be clear and vocal that God doesn't like this act at all. Now they are threatening us by calling us what? Homophobic. If we say that God does not like this. Yeah? In order to what? To threaten us from speaking what Quran says about this. What Islam says. What is Islam? What the Creator says about this. The conclusion is, we as Muslims, Islam as a religion will not allow something called a man to marry a man. Islam will never allow this. Islam will never accept this to be a normal relationship between two people from the same gender, full stop.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Very important topic, especially these days, as we know the media and the different things like are getting promoted and it's becoming more popular now. So it's good to clear this issue up.
Yes.
Brothers and sisters, please come to us in the next episode where we shall continue to discuss the conditions that make a marriage valid. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
نكاح مبارك زواج مبارك النكاح من سنتي ما قال النبي والصحيح نكاح مبارك